Well, hello there, folks. I hope you're well. I really do. Right. Let's start with some thoughts on today's racing. I'll give you some thoughts on today's racing from my point of view. Some of the things that I've seen and heard today. We'll have to start at the top with ITV again, with the latest offerings. Honestly, this isn't a crusade like some think it is, but they're just doing me pig in head in. They really are. I wish they would watch this channel. I'm a nobody, but I wish they'd watch it and take heed to some of the things, the points we're raising, and maybe think to themselves, you know what? They have got a point. We are going on a bit. I mean, I go on a bit, but they really are. But I'll give you some points that I've seen today. Some bits and pieces to do with the racing today. Some thoughts on the racing today. Some thoughts away from the track, but to do with racing. And in the comment section, let me know what you think about any of the points I raise. It's getting late now, folks. I'm about 20 minutes from watching United. God knows why I'm going to bother, but I am. I've not even looked at the scores on the doors. I don't know what anybody's picked today. I don't know what any tips has picked. During the first half, I'm going to try and eat my tea. I'm in the bedroom watching it. I've been sent to Sub's bench. I'm upstairs watching it when I finish recording. I'm going to eat my tea, try to do the scores on the doors and record them at half-time. Might even be full-time, but hopefully half-time. I'm also going to let you know how I've done today in the tipping comp and how I did with some picks, because I picked some today and I told you I didn't fancy some, and give you a bit of a pointer there as to how I did and didn't do, just for the sake of it, really. So the tipping comp and the scores on the doors will come later, hopefully by half-time. I'm hoping, anyway. I'm going to try to. But today, we'll start with the ITV. We'll take it from the top. The show had only just started. And who did my best mate of all, old Ed, old Chambo, who did he introduce? The Bruffalo. As soon as he said Bruffalo, and he said it twice, I thought, just shoot me now. Please shoot me now. This show is only going to go one way. It's going to go down. There's no, and it did to a great extent. Bruffalo. We love Bruffalo. I thought, I don't love you saying it. It just sounds stupid. And Bruff Scott, he's over the moon to get the bit of exposure on ITV, because he's not had anything for years and years and years, really. He's probably on a decent earner for just putting a 10-minute shift in. You know, he's an old man. It'd be decent money in his back pocket. But he must cringe inwardly when you call him the Bruffalo. He really, really must. That's where we started. And then I've noticed a few things. You might have noticed things I've missed, folks, because I'm working whilst doing all this and doing other things. I am a busy fella, believe it or not. The emotional roller coaster continues as we focus on MND and Doddy Way. So Doddy the Great wins, over the moon for the horse. Not as over the moon as I could be, because I backed it 2 or 3 times this year. It keeps letting me down. When it matters today, I leave it and it comes in at bigger than 20-1. Anyway, obviously we're going to focus on Doddy, because it's named after the great Doddy Way. Wonderful human being and brave soul, as was Rob Burrow thereafter. Different code of rugby, not my code, but I still admire him and take my hat off to old Doddy there. He was brave fight, wonderful human being. But I thought to myself, did Ed mention Doddy Way before the off or during the build-up? He might have once. He might have said Doddy the Great, named after Doddy Way, very sadly. He might have said that. I don't know if he did, 'cause I didn't hear it. You'd have to tell me. But as soon as he went over the line, how many times did he mention Doddy Way? And the woman off ITV Snooker who was upset when it won, the patron, and Doddy's wife, and Doddy's kids, and Doddy this, Doddy that. He didn't mention Ken Dodd, but he mentioned every other kind of Dodd you could think of. He must have mentioned Doddy about 8 or 10 times. Don't get me wrong, Doddy never got mentioned as many times as young Michael O'Sullivan's girlfriend got mentioned yesterday. But the thing is with Ed yesterday, Ed knew she was going to be there and he knew she'd done a stable visit. So he mentioned about 3 times or 4 times before the off she was there. He mentioned a couple of times she'd done a stable visit and met Marie National for 5 minutes on her own. He mentioned it the minute the race ended, and he carried on mentioning it for the next 2 hours before the programme ended. I said he'd mention her again today or tomorrow. I'd have a bet with anyone on that he will do. He might have done today. If he did, I never heard it. I don't think he has, but he might have done. I'm certain it'll get mentioned tomorrow. Ed will mention that tomorrow as one of his weekly highlights, and Doddy will probably get another mention. Doddy didn't get a picking looked before the horse won, but as soon as it won, he can't stop going on, because that's what he does. Oh, where did we go then? After the John Joe's son won the race, he did the looking up and this, that and the other. Told Alice that he was wearing something on his wrist to do with Cork, which is where Michael was from, blah, 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 blah. And then they went straight to Chapman. Great words there from Michael. I'm talking to JP. It's only because he had JP that he was next. Ed must have been thinking, why didn't he come to me? Why didn't he come to me next? I love telling folk what brilliant words they've all. And I said to her indoors, she was in by then, I said, when they finish here now, they'll go on to Old Chamber, and Chamber will say, oh, wonderful word. Anyway, the phone went for work. I had to take it, I had to walk out and take it. Came back in, don't know what had been said. I thought, no, I'm not letting him go. I'm rewinding it, see, did he say anything? I said, it's like your money on red or black. I was all on red, and red was for go, not for stop. Red was him saying something. I thought, I know he'll have said something. I know him. Rewound it. Oh, wonderful words there, wonderful words. Did you see him? He looked up at the sky. He looked up at the sky, and he's got something on his wrist from Cork. Did he say there's a flag on it? Wonderful words. Said it, and I thought, Chapman had already told us that. We'd heard the words off the young lad himself, and they were good words. I mean, Alice still didn't cry. She must have been closer today than she's been all week. I mean, she missed one day. We've only got one day left now in the spread. Better will she cry or not? I thought that would have tipped over this day. It didn't do as it turned out. Or if it did, she didn't mention it. She normally does. I mean, I'm seeing a bit later, did they have... Was it the Robco owner or whatever on? And I'll have to go. I don't want to get him. I'm going to cry, he said to Chapman. Chapman said, oh, no, we appreciate that, Nick. We love that, Nick. Well, he might have said, we love that, Nick, but they do love it. They love it when people start crying. No, stay with us. They must be saying, he's here, keep him there. He's going to cry. We love this. We absolutely love this. He said he wanted to go. You won't let him. Crazy. He said to JP, you're lucky, JP. The show's nearly ending. You've only got me for a minute. JP must have thought, great. Don't ever let them do the 7th race, because I'd have had Chapman for 10 minutes here now. Oh, what else was there? And then, then I noticed. I mean, how did he manage this? This is how Chamber works. We've had Bruffalo. That's nothing about thinking it. We've had the emotional roller coaster of the week. We've had the M&D roller coaster. We've also had Michael again and John Joe's lad looking up. Then he managed to steer it in his own conversation to Jack de Bromhead. How did he get there? Jack de Bromhead and the rainbow above the... And I thought, oh, no. That's a couple or 3 years ago. And it's just unbelievable. Why don't they focus on racing and betting? Why don't they do that? Why don't they have an horse racing programme with just a little bit of cack thrown in? Talking about cack being thrown in, did you see her? What on earth possessed ITV to get Gemma Collins on the screen while he's racing on? If it weren't for the fact that I love racing and I'd had bets, I'd have turned it off. I don't like her. What did she tell us? Girls are face. Women rule the world. Women own the world. Women, come down and get betting. Ollie chirps up, but bet responsibly. I thought, oh my God. And then he goes... Oh, it's also been National Women's Day, is it? Or week or year, I don't know what pigging is. Oh, it is, she said. And I thought, oh, no. It's just the idiots running the asylum, both of them. And then I'm looking on internet later, and who's she there kissing with her arms all over? Danny Dyer, I hate pigging him as well. I didn't see him on telly. If he was there, I'm glad I missed that. Collins was enough for me, but not Dyer as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was an highlight with one of the stars, as you've seen, you know. Peter Crouch just told us that, you know, Abby likes a good ride. He did raise a few eyebrows as well. I thought, oh, right, oh, well. Nice to know, I suppose. Not that I'm ever going to find out, but nice to know. Anyway, what else did we have? I wrote it down. Abby likes a good ride. I remember, I didn't need to write that down. I once forgot that. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest with you. And then I was thinking about the racing today. Let's get to the horses, because like Ed always says, it's the horses that are important. Facts of Foul today, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It makes you realise what a monster Galloping is that they didn't want to race against it again this year. Facts of Foul was sensational. I was going to put 2 in my play spots last night, and then I looked at his back form and I didn't realise it was quite that good. Each time Galloping beat it, it's run really, really well. I looked at the last couple of furlongs of its last 2 or 3 races. I looked at them all on video this morning on 365 and I thought, how can this not win? How can it not win? And it never looks like falling, although I know a horse can fall at any time. You've not got the risk that you have from time to time with a Jumbo or the one that fell. I can't think. I've done it again, the Bartlett horse. I can't think. You know which one I mean. And even Constitution. It's always looks a slick and quick jumper, but it never gives the fences more than about half an inch. And its last race, it looked like it might fall, if you remember, in the last fence. So it just looks like an assured jumper. And I just thought to myself, well, as long as they don't let the French animal get a furlong lead, as long as it keeps on its coattails, it can't get beaten. And it certainly never. The JP horse that won the last race, the sixth race, looks a good horse in the making. Looks a real good horse. Is it a national horse next year or the year after? You would think so. Some good animals out there today. But that was a lovely story. The old Bob Ollinger. I mean, she did well, Rachel, to win the first. I mean, as I said yesterday, I'm hearing stories now that it might be a last Cheltenham. I don't know if there's any truth in it. But she won the first and won well. Cracking ride. And I thought Envoy and Bob Ollinger might both run well and outrun their odds. I didn't think either of them had run as well as they did. And I didn't think their odds had contracted as much as they did, especially Bob. Was it 20s into 8s? But I always fancied it to make the frame, as I said earlier. But what a ride, a wonderful ride. But then I got thinking to myself, can we class it as a Cheltenham great, a real Cheltenham great, Bob? I mean, I think it's won 3 times. Was it the Supreme it won over 2 mile? Then maybe the Arkle, which obviously is over fences at 2 mile. And then back to Hurdles over the stairs, which is it 3 mile 1? That's some winning, is that? And then I thought, no, we can't, because in between it's not always been great. And more than that, for all it's won there 3 times, you've got to think one time it was extremely fortunate because Galopin absolutely battered it. I think it was in the Arkle or whatever race it was in. It absolutely battered it, and I mean battered it. There was only one winner there other than the really unexpected and unfortunate fall. I think it's going to be beat by about 30 odd lengths. So no, I don't think it's a great. And then I thought to myself, what a shame. I mean, I'm pleased for the owners. Pleased for Emery because I think he's a lovely fella and a great trainer. Over the moon for Rachel. She's brilliant for racing. She's absolutely first class. But I'm thinking it's a shame in some respects. That horse has won 3 times at Cheltenham. And there's been other great horses and much, 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 much greater than that have won there. But I've only run once or maybe twice. And some that are real massive, massive favourites of mine. And as I say, only won once or twice. And that's now won 3. But then again, that's the way it goes, I suppose. But no, great win. But no, it's not a world beater for me. I don't think we can put it as one of the greats of all time by any means. And then what else was there? I don't think there's much else. I think Frankie and Benidorm. Well, we'll go Frankie first. You might have heard today, Frankie Dettori, surprisingly, has put himself up for bankruptcy. I say surprisingly. I'm not so sure that it's that much of a surprise. I covered it earlier on my showbiz thing. I think he's tried to dodge tax for many a year. He's got found out. He's not wanted to pay. He's tried to get the review to not release his name whilst he's been investigated, and for a while they played ball. And then I think because they were getting nowhere, the Open got over him, we're going to let your name out. I think he tried to get an injunction and maybe got one for a time. And then the judges said, no, they can say your name. And when it came out a few months ago, he held his hands up, said, no, he said, it wasn't me. It was bad advice, bad advisors. They're now all sacked. And I am trying to work with the revenue. I thought, aye, you don't want to pay, pal. You don't want to pay. I don't mean PayPal. There's nothing to do with it. He just didn't want to pay. And so it transpires. He's now going bankrupt. But they're saying he's earned 15 plus million over his racing career. I'm sure he's earned more than that. And he's been on retainers and whatever else. He's had the money. And I think he's known to be reasonably frugal, is our Frankie. I think he's got plenty of reserves. He's not only had the racing money, he's done a lot in the media for many a year. He's got his celebrity stuff and all that palaver going in jungles and houses and this, that and the other. He's earned good corn. He's just thinking, look, what do I want to do? I owe him a good few quid. I better have to him for 2 or 3 mil. Do I pay the 2 or 3 mil on taking it on my finances or keep me money? Yet I'm going to be embarrassed if I take the hit and go bankrupt. But I'm embarrassed anyway that everyone knows about it now. Bugger it, take the hit, why pay it? He's thinking, and I'm thinking, it's a bit naughty really when many are struggling. He's got good corn and he's just tried to con them. And now he's taking the easy route. I'm not so sure I agree with it, to be honest with you. I'm not so sure at all. Anyway, and then the last thing is, again, it's Benidorm. It's Benidorm versus Cheltenham. And we're hearing today, I don't know if you heard it, they spoke to the guy that's now trying to run things at Cheltenham. Dwindling crowds over the last 4 years. They're dwindling year on year on year. And this year's crowd compared to 4 years ago, it's a massive, massive difference. I did hear someone say on the telly, one of the bookies, that they're much, much busier in the ring than they were this time last year. But still the crowds are dwindling. And I'm thinking, well, it makes for a better experience. Might be a bit easier to get a drink or to use the toilet or whatever else. But not easier enough because there's not enough there. The facilities just can't cope with it when they get huge crowds. But the thing is, they're wondering why it dwindles. As I say, when you go your Benidorms and your Tenerife, you've got the weather, you've got cheaper drinks, cheaper accommodation, You don't have to pay for the 4 days tickets for the festival. Your food's cheaper, better weather, entertainment at night times, easier to get a drink, certainly easier to go to the toilet. So win, 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 win. Other than the fact that you're not watching the horses in the flesh, which is always great. But I'm thinking it's not just Cheltenham that need to do things. It really is. It is Cheltenham, but Cheltenham as a town. The accommodation is much, much too dear. The beer prices are much too dear. It's £7.80 for a Guinness. Don't get me wrong. It'll be £4 or £5 in Benidorm, and it'll probably only be cans. But, you'll get a pint of lager. If it's £7.80 for a Guinness in the village there at Cheltenham, it's probably £7.50 for a pint of lager. You'll get it for £1.50, £2 in Benidorm, and if you really shop around, even for £1. Might taste like vinegar, but it'll be £1. And some people can get drunk on vinegar and don't mind what it tastes like. But no, they've got a lot to do there, I think, to get it back to what it was. I really do. It's definitely the greatest show on turf, well, along with Ryder Cup, but they've got a lot to do. They really, really have. I've been to both. I've been Benidorm watching the racing, never thought I would, and I've been to Tenerife, both absolutely brilliant. When I first went to Benidorm 10 or 12 years ago, it was busy-ish, but year on year it got busier. Last time I went there was about 4 years ago, much busier. And I've seen a couple of videos from these YouTubers that I follow from time to time that have done videos this week in Benidorm at the racing, and they both said, the main girl there, old Lucy, she said it's unbelievable, the crowds. She said normally the last day or two for the festival is rammed. The first couple of days are quieter. She said, but at the moment, day one of the festival is absolutely, you can't move. So it's gone berserk from Tuesday, where it's gone berserk on a Thursday or Friday, because people would come Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, come back Sunday, or Sunday night, go back Monday. Many would go on a Friday night, go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday, only having 2 days of work, you see. But she said, no, for this first day, I've never seen it like this, so it's just getting busier. And unless Cheltenham does something about the whole shooting match, it will carry on to get busier. Carry on getting busy, not carry on to get busier. So, I've rambled on a lot, but I've given you a lot. That's all my thoughts. What do you think of anything I've said? Thumbs up or down, let me know whether I'm right or wrong. Have you done Benidorm? Have you done Tenerife? Tenerife's brilliant as well for it, I'll tell you. Oh, fantastic, and even better weather. Oh, it's belted in Tenerife. And not as packed for the racing, getting busier but not as packed, so it's easy, nice and comfortable. Bit longer flight, I suppose, yes. But the transfers are quicker. Tenerife, 15 minutes. Benidorm, an hour and a quarter. Big difference. So, they weigh each other up, don't they? Anyway, I'll leave it with you, and I'll catch you later for the scores on the doors.